So the first question is, do twin flames exist? Um, so twin flames, right? There's this idea of like these two spirits burning so bright that they attract each other and they basically consume each other, right? So I think yeah, the short answer to do twin flames exist is yes, I think they exist. But the long answer is hey, Gio. Yeah, so someone had just asked if twin flames exist, and my short answer is yes, and my long answer is depends how you view twin flames. Because one view of twin flames is that it's like another word for soulmate, right? Like we belong together, and we were meant to be together in this lifetime, and we yeah, we belong together, and there's no way to like, we're destined for one another, right? Like that's the idea of some people have about twin flames, like it was meant to be. And so when I think the danger when people subscribe to this perspective of like we were meant to be together is then you hold a lot of energy on that idea, and you make that, and people make that to be like more important than actually paying attention to what's going on, right? And so it's like, oh, this person is treating me really terribly, or they're ignoring me, but we were meant to be, we're twin flames, right? Like that's a lie. So in that sense, I don't think twin flames are I don't look at twin flames in that perspective of like we were meant to be together, we were made for each other, and nothing can tear us apart, right? And there's so many songs that are that follow this template, right? We were meant to be, we're twin flames, we burn so bright and we burn each other, right? And that's just a recipe for disaster. Because you end up accepting people's yeah, their toxicities, and you accept them despite them not being right for you, because you have this idea of you being meant to be and made for each other, when life is a lot more complicated than that, girl. A lot more complicated than that. So what I think twin flames are instead are that anybody can be your twin flame, and anybody can be your soulmate. The way that I look at twin flames is that a twin flame is someone who you feel really connected to, someone who illuminates the parts of you that are hidden, or the parts of you that you haven't faced yet, and so you see them, and there's something within you that gets activated when you see this person, this soul, this spirit burning brightly in front of you, because they remind you of the parts of you that you have been casting aside, that you have been pushing, and that you have been ignoring, or not nurturing within yourself. So that's what I think twin flames are. And it can work out really well when twin flames find each other and they illuminate one another, and they show each other the parts of themselves that need to be embraced and that need to be loved, and share a journey together where they're constantly learning and helping one another grow. So I think that's a great way to look at twin flames, as a companion through this life, to help to illuminate the parts of you that you need to see. The thing with twin flames, though, is I don't believe necessarily that you're meant to be together in a romantic sense. Twin flames don't have to be romantic. It can be like your best friend. It can even be like your parent or your child. It's this other soul, this other being that shows you parts of who you are. So that's how I look at twin flames, and not so much the whole we were made to be together. So yeah, that was the first question, is do twin flames exist? And then the second question that came in is, do I have any recommendations for an autumnal tea? And yes, I do. In fact, I'm sipping on one right now. Well, I haven't started sipping on it yet because it's still hot and brewing. But I have here a Genmaicha. I love Genmaicha tea. I don't know if you all are familiar, but it is a green tea, Japanese green tea with toasted rice. It's so good. Hang on, let me see if we can zoom. Let me see. You can see, yeah. So that's little bits of toasted rice, and it's interesting because like the rice ends up popping, kind of like popcorn. You see that? Yeah. And it's so good. It's earthy. It's like it's toasted. It's warming. It's delicious. It's calming. So I think it's just really great for autumn. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you can find Genmaicha at most Asian stores, Asian grocery stores. Just look in the tea section and look for for little bits of toasted rice. You should be able to find it. If you live up north here in Chicago, the place I go to is on Broadway near Argyle, between Argyle and Wilson. They changed their name recently, forgot the new name. It used to be called Broadway Market, but they have several types of Genmaicha tea. And I need to refill my container actually. So, that was the second question is, do I have any autumnal tea suggestions? And the last question that came in is, what was it? They asked, how do I judge myself less and find my soul family? So this is a really, really beautiful question, and I really appreciate the person who sent this in and the vulnerability it takes to ask this, right? So the first part of the question is, how do I judge myself less? Okay, so even just breaking that down, right? When we say, how do I judge myself less, you're already judging yourself for judging yourself. So I think an important thing here to recognize is that judging and particularly seeing things negatively is an inherent part of the human brain. This is how humans have developed. Hi, Sarah Lynn. Yes. Thank you. When we judge ourselves, we judge our surroundings because of it's an inherent part of our nervous system. We have to know if we are in a safe environment or if we are not, right? So it's that fight or flight or rest and digest impulse, right? And in our ancestry, our early human ancestors lived in a time when that was super necessary. They had to survive in the environment, and so the nervous system developed to be able to judge whether you are in a safe environment or whether you have to run and fight for your life. Right. And so as humanity and as society and as culture has developed and has become more complicated, our environments have changed and the conditions that we live in have changed, and we've begun to master the world around us to the point that we're now like extracting so much resources from the earth, and we've truly made this earth our playground, right? And to a huge degree, those fight or flight impulses are no longer as necessary as they used to be, right? We don't need to look out every single moment for predators, right? But that being said, our nervous system is still very much stuck in that program. So we develop a negative bias in how we see the world. We tend to put a lot of emphasis on the negativity, and we often do not really take in the positive aspects of our experiences, and we don't really remember as much the good experiences as we do the negativity, and the negativity affects our nervous system and how our brain functions, and how the synapses connect and all the neural connections, and those get repatterned, and those patterns get deeper essentially, and that's why it's so easy to think negatively about ourselves and about the world around us, because of the impact that it had on us the first time that we had that experience, and then the many times that we continued to reinforce that experience in our mind, right? So when we judge ourselves, we tend to judge ourselves as a way to say, like, here's where I'm lacking, or here's what I need to improve, and here is where I compare against others, right? And if you look at it that way, right, things that you need to improve, ways that you connect with others or disconnect with others, those are really important survival mechanisms, right? So it's important to really see that we judge ourselves as a survival mechanism. And so look at it that way, first of all, rather than getting too deep into the judgment. So that's the first step, I think, in reducing that self-judgment, is to understand that it's a biological, neurological mechanism that's happening. And there's nothing wrong with you for judging yourself. Every single person does it, right? So, yeah. And then from there, right, understand that once you understand that this is a biological mechanism, then we can begin to understand, okay, so if I judge myself for negative things, then I can actually also judge myself and remember and repattern and deepen the neural connections of my positive experiences. So begin to understand that the same amount of energy that you put into your negative thoughts, you can use that same energy and that same attention to reinforce your positive thoughts, your positive emotions, the things that make you feel good, the things that bring you joy, the positive ways that you connect with the world, and the beautiful connections that you have with other people, and it's that same thing. You're still comparing yourself to other people, but then you're looking at it in a different way through a different lens, right? So judging ourselves is a matter of survival, of connection, and it's just a matter of how to look at it in a different way, right? Going from the negative to the positive, and from the yin to the yang, from the yang to the yin. So that was the first part of that, answering that first part of that question. And then the second part of that question was, how do I find my soul family? Ooh, this is a rich one. and a really beautiful question. And I think my answer to this is to follow your joy, to do things that make you happy, to find out what things do you like to do, and what things challenge you. Because when you go out into the world looking for what you love, then you're going to find yourself in places where there are also other people who love those same things, and you are better able to make connections through that, because you're already there together. You already know that you're interested in those things, right? So I know that's really, really difficult right now, being COVID and quarantine, and social life is kind of not really, a little bit challenging these days, let's say. But we can look at this in a different way, right? So instead of looking at it as like, oh, it's challenging, there aren't people out, things aren't open, you can look at it as like, well, what is the opportunity here? There's an opportunity actually for to make connections online to find the things that you enjoy doing and the things that you're interested in online. And there are going to be people there. There are going to be people who are also interested in those things. So, join the message boards, join a Facebook community, answer people's questions, ask questions, and understand that everybody has the same integral needs of belonging, of safety, of connection, and just going out into the world, even the digital world, with that type of consciousness that can begin to calm your nervous system. It brings compassion to the table. You see other people as your equal, and instead of as a competitor. And I think this is part of the transformation that we can really lean into during this time of isolation, right? So I always believe that with anything, there's also the opposite of it contained within it, right? The yin within the yang within the yin. And so in isolation, there's still an opportunity for connection, just as even when you're out and connected, there's still the potential for feeling isolated, right? So everything always contains its opposite within it. So, I think I will end it there. That was my first Dear Mahal live here. I think I'll try to do these every Tuesday at 11:11. So if you have a question, please send it in. You can DM me. And I'll post another thingy, like poll, whatever, to get more questions. And I'll see you next week, Tuesday at 11:11 for Dear Mahal, my new online advice column. All right, I'll see you all later. Thank you so much for joining in, and take care. Have a lovely day.